It's all going down today. What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Tyrone Bowman Live. Just getting started on this somewhat dreary Wednesday afternoon or evening, whatever, wherever you are. But I have to have this conversation today. I'm going to give a couple minutes before everybody starts to come in, because this is going to be a hot button topic. Why are the MAGA Republicans blaming the Democrats for the government shutdown? That is the topic question. Why are MAGA Republicans blaming the Democrats for the government shutdown? I found an article in the Washington Examiner, and I'm going to read it and offer commentary about it throughout the course of this conversation. And as you come into the chat on today, I would like to know, pretty soon I'll have monitors and all that kind of stuff in place to filter out a lot of stuff, because some of y'all out of pocket. Some of y'all just don't know what to say out of your mouths. Pardon me for a minute. As I was saying, pretty soon I'll have monitors and stuff in place, because a lot of y'all, you're out of pocket, and rather than for me to cuss you all the way out, I just put some monitors in place to kind of govern things and keep things in order. But that's the question. Why are the MAGA Republicans blaming the Democrats for the shutdown? Now let's get this straight. The Republicans control Congress. The Republicans control the Senate. The Republicans boast about having all the power. They control the White House. And you're trying to get the American people to believe that it is the Democrats who are responsible for this government shutdown? Are you really serious? Not too long ago, y'all were boasting and bragging after the election that you have all the power. The Democrats have nothing, so they can just shut up and do what they're told. I found this article in the Washington Examiner, and I'll probably go back and change the caption once I'm finished this. And the headline reads, quote, "Furious Thune unloads on Democrats amid blame game over SNAP funding lapse." This article was written by Ramsey Touchberry for the Washington Examiner. Quote, "An animated Senate Majority Leader John Thune, a Republican from South Dakota, unleashed on Democrats today over food stamp funding that's set to run dry on November 1 due to the government shutdown. The normally mild-mannered Midwesterner shouted a deluge of criticism on the floor against Democrats for seeking to pass a standalone measure for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program known as SNAPs, or food stamps, and other federal food aid after having opposed a clean GOP stopgap bill 13 times in recent weeks to reopen the government. So why did the Democrats not vote along with the Republicans? Because the Republicans want to take health care away from almost 20 million Americans. And that's something some of you all don't want to hear, but it's true anyhow. Just because you don't like what's being said does not mean that it's not true. These people expect the Democrats, who are in the minority, to go along with any and everything that they say, and they're not supposed to oppose anything. They're supposed to be like little children. Just sit down, shut up, and do what we tell you to do. That seems to be the consensus. Meanwhile, throughout the United States of America, people have been hurting and suffering every single day. Inflation is totally out of control. Everywhere you go, price gouging is in full effect by these greedy supermarket owners or whatever they want to call themselves. The billionaire owners are deliberately spiking prices on everything, knowing that the economy is in a terrible fix at this point in time. You go into the restaurants. As soon as you sit down, the first thing they ask you, do you want something to drink? The drinks are out of control. Prices are high. The food has quadrupled in the restaurants. But it's okay in the eyes of the wealthy and the rich and the powerful, because they're not adversely affected by what's going on in this nation. The agriculture industry has come to a grinding halt. Farmers have lost so much good product. Why? Because of immigration policies. Look at the gas prices. Everywhere you go, gas prices are high. And what about the fact that seniors basically have been totally ignored in the midst of all this? Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. This seems to be a non-issue during the government shutdown. They act like a bunch of children who can't, in a play lot, fighting over the sandbox. These are supposed to be grown, mature men and women who are supposed to be highly educated with degrees from some of the best Ivy League university in the nation. They're supposed to be well-read, articulated, and they can't sit down and come to a simple consensus as whether you want people to starve during the upcoming holiday season, and as a punitive measure, you want to punish any Democrat who did not vote for Republicans in this past election. This is what this is about. There is no sensible factor involved in this. So they'd rather see old people, seniors, children starve, seniors starve, have Medicaid, Medicare cut. So when people go to their doctors, the doctors can accept them because they're afraid of not getting paid. So you got Senator Thune raging against the Democrats because the Democrats refuse to go along with their GOP stopgap bill on 13 occasions. Why would the Democrats, with all good, reasonable mind, go along with anything the Republicans want when they're totally being disrespected all across the board? Let's talk about the gerrymandering that's going on and the redistricting that's going on just before the midterm elections. You think Democrats are going to vote with y'all? You must be crazy. No, what the Republicans want, they want to be able to say, oh, see, we didn't cause the shutdown. The Democrats did, because they know that the midterm elections are coming up and people are angry. Did you hear what I'm saying today? People are angry and they are going to come out in full force, and they're going to show these politicians exactly who has the power. Politicians work for the people. The people don't work for the politicians. Many of them have forgotten that. They're in these cushy jobs with all these benefits and perks and everything that goes along with it, and they don't care about everyday people. Even when they have this so-called town meetings or community meetings, they got all their bodyguards and everything with them, and people can't even get up and speak and voice their opinion. Of course they're going to be emotional because they're angry. Of course they're going to be upset because the senators and Congress people don't have the best interests of them at heart. So SNAP recipients shouldn't go without food, according to what Senator Thune said. People should be getting paid in this country, and we tried to do that 13 times. You voted no 13 times. Thune charged on the shutdown's 29th day. This isn't a political game. These are real people's lives. Really? Oh, now you want to be concerned about these being real people's lives to placate? Now the senator wants to placate. They don't want the shutdown to end. They want it to remain just the way that it is. And ladies and gentlemen, people can believe me or they don't have to believe me. When November 1 hits, and 17 million plus people are affected. And it won't just be Black people that's being affected, and Latinos and Mexicans and Spanish people. Everybody is going to be affected. And they're going to feel the brunt of it and the backlash of it. So meanwhile, for political football purposes, the Democrats get blamed for everything. Because there's no culpability factor on the part of Republicans. They don't accept blame for nothing. Even with the so-called big, beautiful bill. They said it's the best thing that ever happened to America. And Speaker Johnson said, we're going to be rewarded for this because we did a great thing. Really? They did a great thing? The only people who are going to be profiting from it are billionaires. Why do billionaires continue to get tax incentives? Why do billionaires continue to get tax breaks? Why do billionaires continue to get bailed out? It's called corporate welfare. Why do they continue to get bailouts? Why do billionaires continue to get special privileges? And people who own small businesses and are trying to keep them afloat, they can't get the help that they need. And you know, Black people under this administration, they're not going to get a darn thing. The answer is always going to be no. So this is the problem right now in America. People are hurting. People are suffering. People are doing things that they should not be doing. Thune blocked an effort by Senator Ben Ray Lujan, a Democrat, to pass a funding carve-out for SNAP and for the Women, Infants, and Children's WIC program, which some GOP senators have also advocated be funded during the shutdown. Thune went on to condemn Democrats for what he called a cynical attempt to provide political cover before Lujan offered a reaction. I get in trouble sometimes because I use language from that little farm that I still came from. But I learned the rules of decorum on the Senate floor, so I won't use them today, responded Lujan, who hours earlier characterized the GOP position on food stamps as BS. Well, Republicans cuss all the time. Why? Let me ask you Democrats something. Why are y'all being so nice? Why are you being so conciliatory? Why are you bending over backwards to appease these Republicans? You got Senator Cory Booker on the forefront, Hakeem Jeffries, Representative Jasmine Crockett. These seem to be the most powerful voices of opposition. Chuck Schumer, he doesn't speak really with authority. Why are y'all being so lackadaisical? Where is your backbone? Let's talk about working mothers for a moment. Let's talk about working mothers in this country. Working mothers are having it hard, especially those who come from single-parent households. Working mothers, they got to work a job many times that they hate. They get home late. They got to help the children with their homework. They got to make sure that they get prepared for the next day. Many instances, they're the last one to go to sleep at night and the first one to get up in the morning. They have to hurry up out of the door to get to the job because their heartless boss will dock them or even fire them if they're 1 minute late. So they got to leave maybe 3 hours earlier to get to a job that doesn't even appreciate them. I'm talking about working mothers. Single parent mothers who may be married, but they still have to work to supplement the income. And then you have single mothers out there working hard every single day. But do they get the credit that they deserve? No. Do they get the same equal pay as men? No. Are they recognized and promoted? No. They have to fight for everything, even in politics. They really have disdain because the old boys club does not want any women, and especially women of color, to be Congress people or in the Senate. This is political mind games. All this bantering, going back and forth. It's political mind games. It's political chess. It's political checkers. Speaker Johnson is deceitfully deceitful and manipulative every time he comes before the camera. He's playing a very dangerous game. And people who govern by pollsters and their numbers don't like the polls to unfavorably present them before the public. You can believe me, you don't have to believe me, but the midterm elections are coming. Many of the Republicans are going to go in there, but they're not going to vote Republican. They're going to vote Democrat. Because you're not allowed to go into the voting booth with them. They're tired of y'all. They're fed up. They've had enough. Oh, they might have voted for some things, but they didn't vote for all this crap to happen and go on. Because you got your marginalized group, they said this is what they want to happen until it affects their city, their town, their family. What about all the special vouchers that people have to get to go see a specialist? What about the deductibles and the copays they have to consistently pay? And they condemn Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act. Condemn it. They say Obama didn't do anything decent when he was the president of the United States. They act like Obama was never the president. He was elected twice. They like to overlook the fact that he held the office of the presidency for a successful 8 years and left without a scandal. And he graciously received the incoming president and the incoming first lady before he left office. But you same people who condemn Obama, you condemn Obamacare, you were the main ones to become recipients of it, especially down in the southern part of America. Hypocrisy. And now you got a nerve to be upset when y'all the ones that caused all this stuff to happen that's going on in the nation to begin with. We all caused it. So why is the government shut down? Because they're told to keep it shut down. The New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, all the major publications, Time Magazine, etc., etc. They all reported in terms of the devastating effect that this government shutdown will cause. Y'all were warned and warned and warned, but you wouldn't listen. It's just like when our mothers kept warning us and warning us and warning us about things that were going to happen. We paid them no mind, and they happened. You were told, start storing water, start storing food, start putting things away. Some people listened. The vast majority of the people did not listen. So, back to this article. Following his broadcast on the floor, Senator Thune told reporters that he expected to soon meet with rank-and-file Senate Democrats on ending the shutdown. They're looking for an off-ramp, he told reporters, according to Politico. What I told them all along is, as soon as they're ready to open up the government, that we will ensure that they have a process whereby they can have the chance to get their legislation voted on, their policies voted on. That's a lie. It's an outright lie. I think we've become more interested, and I hope that continues, end quote. That's a lie. No matter what plausibility policy that the Democrats come up with, they're going to vote it down. Anything that's going to benefit everyday people, they're going to vote it down. So the tense exchange marked the latest episode of heightened partisan tensions over the expiring aid received by 42 million Americans. So whose fault is it? You tell me. Whose fault is it? Somebody says Obamacare sucks. Well, then don't use it. Nobody begged you to use it. If you say it sucks, then don't use it. Go get your own private health care and stop complaining. That's what's wrong with folk now. You get something to try to help you, still complain. Ungrateful. You're not paying for it, even if it's minimal coverage. Minimal coverage is better than having no coverage at all. So whose fault is it that 42 million Americans are going to be infected come November 1? Seniors are going to be affected greatly. Oh, yes, they are. Especially those who are living in residential care facilities. They're going to be affected. Somebody said, okay, Eric, well, that's your opinion. Nobody's telling you not to have your opinion. And when individuals see suffrage going on in the nation, you got some cynical people, they want to sit back and they want to laugh at it because they think it's funny until it happens to somebody in their family. Then it's like, oh my God, OMG, can somebody come help us? What's going on over in Jamaica, if it rips to the southern part of the country and they tell you that FEMA is not going to come to help you, then what? See, it doesn't pay to be heartless and callous and cynical, because the southern part of the state always gets devastated by flooding and hurricanes all the time. And then when you ask your government to help you, then what? And they say, no, we're not coming. We're not coming down there because there are Democrats down there, and we don't want to help the Democrats. So since we don't want to help the Democrats, we're not going to help you. We don't want Democrats. I'm not going to polarize and put them in ethnic terms, but we don't want Democrats to get food stamps and welfare. So you know what? Y'all can't have it either. That's the consensus. We don't want those people getting anything for free. So earlier, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, the Democrat from New York, denied his party bears any responsibility for the forthcoming food stamp lapse and accused President Donald Trump of purposely, quote, weaponizing, end quote, the funding. He made the case that Democrats should be spared blame even as they withhold the votes to overcome a filibuster and reopen the government over demands to extend expiring Obamacare subsidies. That's what they want Democrats to vote for. They want Democrats to vote to end Obamacare. And the Democrats won't do it. That's the hostage. That's why it says, well, we can be open for discussion. There's not going to be any discussion because the decision has already been made. They want the Democrats to vote with them to end Obamacare because the Supreme Court would not overturn it. So they want to do it through Congress and then send it over to the Senate and then send it to the president to sign into law. Understand how government works, people. Congress makes the laws, Senate enforces them, the president ratifies them. And so the Democrats do not want to go along with the Republicans to end health care for almost 50 million people. And they want them to go along with it. Quote, this is Schumer speaking, we are saying the Republicans can fund it now, and they're using these people as hostages, plain and simple. The answer is they can fund it right now. And by the way, we don't want to pit health care and food. They do. We think you can have both, end quote. Well, let me ask this question. Suppose Democrats were the majority of people in power, that they had the White House, they had the Congress, and they had the Senate, and the same exact thing was going on, how would you MAGA Republicans feel then? You'd be crying and hollering and cussing all over the place. And you'd be vowing revenge from the depths of your soul, with the pulsating veins coming out of your neck and spit slobbering out of your mouths and the fangs coming out. Because we've seen you in action. And why are the Democrats being so merciful to y'all? I don't know why. Congressional Republicans in the White House maintain the fastest and easiest way to ensure SNAP and WIC benefits continue flowing is to reopen the government, at which point they say negotiations will commence on the health insurance credits set up expire at year's end, with no end to the shutdown on the horizon and Trump's apparent refusal to tap into emergency money like he did during his first term. The food aid funding is all but certain to lapse Saturday for the first time in modern history. Y'all don't seem to get it. So I'm going to help you. Project 2025 was supposed to take place in 2016, but it didn't. That was the plan then. It was already architecturally designed. Project 2025 is in full operational mode, and it's going to continue to be in full operational mode because this is what they want. Stop being duped, stop being lied to, stop letting people look into the camera and just tell you any and everything. You have the power to change all this and bring it to an end next year. Just like in New Jersey. They have the power to elect a Democrat as governor if they choose to, or they can get the MAGA Republican. Just like in Philadelphia in the district attorney's race next week. They have the power to retain Krasner, or they can take the upset, angry former Democrat who became a Republican the day that he lost the Democratic primary, and now he's a MAGA Republican with the backing of the Republican Party, and he took the Republican money. Yeah, I'm talking about Pat Dugan, the former judge, and now he has an agenda. No good is going to come out of this. Nothing good is coming out of this. Because the Republicans want the Democrats to do whatever they say. So you want to use children, sick children, you want to use them as bait. You want to use hungry children as bait. Just like on those fake videos I see on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, where these pretend missionaries go over into Africa and they bait the black kids, the little starving kids, with food and parade them in front of a camera, and they keep waving the food before them to make them say what they want to say. Yes, that's right, I said it. Because it's true anyhow. Got these black children begging for crumbs and rice and water. These are the same people that voted MAGA Republicans into office. And you black folk are sitting up in their churches giving them your hard-earned money, and you won't even stimulate the economy in your own black neighborhoods. But you keep making these preachers richer and richer and richer. And don't forget about the black MAGA evangelical Republicans. I'm talking about the wealthy ones. They are all Republicans. Every last one of them. They're Republicans. That's why they won't tell you how they voted. We already know how you voted. You don't get invited to the White House for a White House dinner and take pictures or something unless you voted for the person. You don't get invited to the prayer breakfast if you voted for Harris. And so these black preachers were used as pawns. They took the money. I said they took the money. And they stood in their pulpits encouraging their sheep to vote for the Republicans. So children are used as bait. Seniors are being used as bait. Food is being used dangling before them. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you better start going to your local neighborhoods, to the food pantries, find out where they are. They're in every neighborhood. Go out into the suburbs. They even got better ones. They don't want y'all to know about it. Go to the suburbs and go to their food pantries. They got top-notch, first-class, grade A food from around the country. In South Philadelphia, go to these rec centers. Go to these food places. Go to the pantries. Go to the churches when they advertise. Get up early and be there. Get rid of your pride. You don't have to go hungry. Put your faith in God. Don't put your faith in politics. Don't put your faith in the senators. Don't put your faith in the president. Don't put your faith in Congress people. Don't put your faith in your committee leader. Don't put your faith in your ward leader. Put your faith in Almighty God. He knows how to rock and move the heavens and the earth. He knows how to bring anybody down. He knows how to supernaturally cause the foundational structure of government to move because he's God. I said because he's God. Somebody has to invoke the Almighty in this conversation. That, listen, the heart of the king is in the hands of God, and he can turn it whichever way he desires. Are you listening to me out there around the world, throughout the United States of America? Get your eyes off these demigods. Get your eyes off these politicians. They're not going to help you. They've proven that they can't help you. I think there's a passage of scripture that says, quote, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves, pray, and seek my face, then will I hear from heaven. And don't forget, turn from their wicked ways. Then will I hear from heaven, will forgive their sin and heal the land. The land needs to be healed. The nation needs to be healed. The government is sick. It needs to be healed. How are you going to have a prayer breakfast and you starving children? Somebody has got to say it, because these bought and paid for preachers don't have the tenacity and intuitiveness to discern when wickedness is running rampant in the land. The scripture declares, woe be unto them that call evil good and good evil. Turn to God. I said, turn to the Almighty. Whatever they call him by, turn to him. I dare you. I dare you to fast and pray. I dare you to stop listening to CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, Fox and Friends. I dare you to stop watching The View. I dare you to come off of social media for a while and go to God. Watch him work it out for you. He will cause rich people to hate the very money that they got. The Bible declares, I don't care if it sounds like a Sunday sermon, whatever. A man's life consisteth not in the abundance of the things which he possesseth. In this self-centered, capitalistic, greedy world that we live in, the rich and the powerful think that their wealth and their power and their bodyguards, their mansions and their cars and their fleets and their yachts and the billions and billions that they got, their stocks and their bonds, they think it's going to save them, but it's not. You better turn to God while you can. See, I'm not only here for clickbait. So what are you going to do? The impending lapse is the latest pressure point in the shutdown saga that Trump and some administration officials, such as White House Budget Chief Russell Voigt, he's the architect of Project 2025, have used as additional leverage over Democrats, including thousands of permanent layoffs in the federal government, in the federal workforce, rather than temporary furloughs. Democratic attorney generals and governors in more than 24 states have sued the government of agriculture for saying it won't use $5 billion in constituency funds to keep the food aid flowing. $5 billion? And you can't take $1 billion for the hungry and for the poor and for the homeless and for the suffering? but they got money for lavish parties and money to do what they want to do. As further evidence, according to the article, the administration was seeking to inflict maximum shutdown pain. Schumer noted that the USDA in 2019, during the previous shutdown that occurred in Trump's first term, tapped into an emergency trust to keep SNAP afloat. The refusal to now use the money is reminiscent of the warnings for Schumer offered in March when he sided with Republicans to prevent a shutdown. You should have had a shutdown in March. Schumer, you were wrong to go along with him, because now you're paying the price. Schumer said Trump is weaponizing hunger. He's turning millions of children and seniors and veterans into political pawns. He's choosing politics over people, cruelty over compassion. And let's be clear about this. They've been on a crusade, the Republicans have been on a crusade against SNAP all year, quote, close quote. You hear what I'm telling you? And I'm going to end this live by saying this: God is real. I said Almighty God is real. It don't matter whether folk believe it or not, he's still God. The sun will burn you if you stay on the beach, and whether you believe it or not. Almighty God is real, and he's alive. And he's watching, and he's paying attention to everything that's going on. And when he decides to divinely move, there won't be anything that anyone can say or do about it. God is just and he's right. And when he decrees a thing according to his government, it's going to be done. It don't matter if you're atheistic or agnostic, or you believe in the wind and the trees and father, mother, that, and the nature. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care what your personal beliefs are. I'm telling you that the divine one, the holy one, the righteous one, the I am that I am is alive and well. You don't need to go to church to hear this. You're going to hear it on this program right now. That's what's wrong with the churches. They become social clubs and entertainment hubs and twerking and all this other kind of foolishness that's going on in them. And it's time to stop worshiping entertainers, stop worshiping these demigods, stop worshiping and glamorizing these politicians, and put your faith in Almighty God. He will take care of you and your family. And don't be foolish enough to follow the subliminal messages from these AI-generated videos that these computer geeks behind Meta and all these other places have been paid to make to incite you to do something stupid. Better listen up, black people. Keep your behinds at home. And don't you fall for the okie doke. What do you think the troops and stuff are being put into the cities for? To kill you. This is a political ploy to incite riots in the nation, to justify the weaponization of the military against citizens. Wake up. So who's to blame for the government shutdown? I ask you today, who's to blame for it? You better come back to God before it's too late. What do you mean, Tyrone? In your heart and in your mind. I'm not talking about sitting up in a physical building. And it's okay if you do that too. There's nothing wrong with that. We get it right. Thank you. See, this way you folk, Brian, people like you, y'all just simple. Y'all really are. People like you, you're really stupid. You never heard me say one word against President Trump. You can dislike a person's policies, but still have respect for them. See, that's what's wrong with you MAGA Republicans now. You don't want anybody to have any point of differentiation against your political ideology. You want everybody to agree with whatever y'all say, and they're not supposed to have a voice of opposition against it. It's wrong. Wrong day, wrong generation, wrong time. The greatness of America is the differentiation within America. The greatness of America is to agree to disagree and remain civil at the end of the day. The greatness of a presidency is to have a leader who governs all civility. That's the greatness of America. That's what sets us apart from other nations of the world. Our president is our president. Yeah, you heard it coming from a black man. Yes. Our president is our president, period. He's the leader of the free world, the leader of this nation. Whether we agree or disagree with him, there's still respect for the president and the presidency. That's the bottom line. But meanwhile, hunger and homelessness, women and children, seniors, individuals going without, unemployment is high, government workers have not been paid and not getting paid anytime soon. They've got families to take care of. People are being fired from jobs unceremoniously. Don't call it no layoff, it's called being fired. That's what it's called. If they quit, they can't get the benefits. If they fire them, then they have a legal recourse and path to help their families. I know people personally that are affected by this. My Italian mother, whom I love dearly. If you're watching, hello, Ma, today. Is affected by this. Seniors that I know are affected by this. Children that I know. I go to the store and I see mothers deciding what can they buy with the little bit of money that they have. It's a real crisis in America. It's time for these politicians to get together on common ground, get in a room, sit down like mature adults, have a marathon session behind closed doors. Bring the president in the room with you and sit down and talk. President Trump is a businessman. He knows what the quote, the art of the deal is, end quote. Sit down in the room and talk it out. Express your differences, holler, scream, cuss each other out, do whatever it is y'all do. But then when you come before that camera, the cameras come out as a unified front. Look, if y'all don't know how to do this, contact me. Let me sit down in the room and talk with all of y'all. I don't need anything. I get joy, desire out of pleasing God. That's it, period. All right, y'all, I gotta go, gotta run. I'm up against the clock. Thank you all for watching on Tyrone Bowman Live. Appreciate you. Never surrender, never quit.